And then you could kind of do the same. Something I really like doing along a deck like this is I actually like using these undercap lights, and this just kind of gives you an idea how that light sits underneath the rail and the caps, and it does a really nice job of subtly lighting down below. So in your case, if you were to use one of these, and these come in a what they call a bronze finish, but it's basically a brown finish, that you could use those to maybe have one or two of those under this top lip. And it's actually it's pretty easy to still get the wire up there. Usually I just run it up the side and just kind of staple it in the corner, and across here that light easily just mounts to this top of this rail. Hey guys, it's Cal from the Lighting Doctor here. I hope you guys enjoy this video with some more great landscape lighting tips. To learn more about landscape lighting, go and check out our website at lightingdoctor.ca, or if you want to see what a real quality landscape light should look like, go and check out our try it before you buy it offer, where you can get a premium quality fixture at a discounted rate with your very own battery pack, so you can go and test out how that light's going to look and feel what a real premium quality light should look like. So go and check us out at lightingdoctor.ca, or go watch more videos on YouTube just by searching for the Lighting Doctor. Hey Matt, yeah, I appreciate taking the time to send in your pictures here, and yeah, I'd love to give you a couple ideas. So I'll just kind of give you a bunch of ideas, and then we can kind of figure out a game plan of stuff from there. But you know, if I'm looking at the front of the house here, I mean, first thing I want to do is I would agree that in all these little islands where you have the trees and stuff, I would definitely probably just throw some uplights in there. One thing to keep in mind, especially because, you know, if you're going to be losing the foliage and stuff throughout the winter, it's best to kind of get it a little bit closer to these trees, especially when they're smaller like this, like maybe, you know, 6-8 inches back or so, and just have it shining more upright. And that's just a good rule of thumb with any of the uplights that you're going to have. If you can have them shining more upright in those areas, and along these guys too, you're just going to get a better effect. And just keep in mind viewing angles. So obviously this one I'd probably try and have that light in front. This one I'd probably have it maybe a little bit more on the corner here. This one I would kind of have on the side, and then same thing with this one. So I would definitely start with those four, would be a real good start. And then on the front of the house, what I would do is just to really make the front entryway pop here, I would definitely try and get 2 more of those uplights just at the base of these columns and these pillars, so they really feature the nice brickwork that you have here, as well as having that light kind of hit the top here. And what it does, and I'll just kind of show you an example, a little bit of kind of what that looks like when you get that light there and it shines up and kind of hits the top here and spreads a little bit. That's what I'd like to see on your property, where you do that, and then it really lights up the entryway. And then I don't think you need to put a whole bunch more path and garden lights and stuff if you were to do something like that. Going along this side of the house, this is where I think, again, you know, you might want to put an uplight on this tree. I think maybe if it gets bigger, it would be better. A good way of kind of adding some balance though between like some uplighting and some downlighting is here. I might actually just throw a couple path and garden lights along this edge, kind of in between the flowers and stuff, so it kind of highlights the flowers a little bit, as well as throw some light down on a nice retaining wall you have here. And if you wanted to kind of balance that out, if you have your uplight here, you could always kind of throw a path and garden light in this area as well, just so it kind of lights this area a little bit, as well as the retaining wall here that you have. And then on the back of the house, this is where I would put another one of those uplights. The only difference is on this one, I would use something a little bit brighter. So with most of these uplights, they come standard with a 4-watt LED lamp in them, but you would want to use something just a little bit brighter. So you have the option to upgrade these to a 35-watt equivalent, which is about a 5-watt LED lamp in there. So it's just a slightly brighter bulb. And what it does now is it just does a better job of pushing that light right up to the top here. And if you had that kind of at the base in between the windows, again, shining more upright, it's going to highlight some of the brick as well as the window frames in this whole front section of the house. And then something I will mention, because we do this a fair bit because it can really make things stand out, is if you can actually get some lights up here, I would probably try and throw like 2 uplights up on the second tier. You can mount them in the gutter, and again, have them shining a little bit more upright, so they're just shining up this this front area and the nice peaks that you have. It's not going to be too much light in the window because you're not necessarily shining it at the house. You'd be shining it more upright, and the way we do that is usually I would just, you know, run wire up or behind the downspout, and then just right in the gutters across to here. And then we usually just use these gutter mounts that you can also find on our website, that you just mount into the gutter and the light screws right into there. All our connections are waterproof, so you can make them right inside the gutter. And I'd probably have 2 of those right here. And again, just to give you an example of what it can kind of look like if you have some of that second story lighting. These ones are placed a little bit differently just because of the slope of the roof and everything, but I'll still give you an idea of what that could look like if you were to do that. So that's what I would do. And then, you know, just looking at this back section, I'm not sure if this tree is on, that might not be on your property, so we'll just skip that for now. And then along the side of the house here, this is where I would probably still, again, this is a great picture kind of showing that, is even though it's just siding across here, it shows what it can do if you kind of light that again with those slightly brighter lamps in there, getting that light to that top section that just kind of helps it glow. And then especially if you've got, like you said, that you might be replacing some of these, if you even get those lights a little bit behind those, so it's kind of whatever you decide to plant here kind of highlights that plant, but then it also creates some shadows of the plant along the house, and it's going to get light up onto this side, so it becomes a really nice walking area. And again, because you said this is kind of a popular area, it would be nice to have the whole house featured properly. So I would definitely consider doing something like that along the side here. And then I don't think you need a whole bunch of path and garden lights, because I think, again, you have a couple in here that are going to help highlight this wall a little bit. You've got some uplights here to highlight these trees, and then you have the side of the house here, which you're going to get some reflective light back down on these beds. Would be a really nice start. In the back here, this is, you know, I'd probably look at throwing a small light on here, but maybe instead of an uplight, because you don't need something that bright for those smaller plants, but any time you have those smaller ones, a wash light like this is a good example. It's just, it's not as bright. It's got a bit of a wider angle lens on it, so if you kind of had one of those right in here that's highlighting this shrub, it's going to look good as you're sitting on the patio, but it's also going to look good to people who are just kind of coming by on the street. And then for this back area here, you can definitely throw some down lighting. It's really up to you where you want that. If you have like a main area, whether it be a sitting area or walking area or some things you want to feature, then I think having a couple down lights would be nice. I like using it if there's a pathway or some kind of feature to light. Otherwise, I think you could do a really nice job with just some uplighting. You don't have to light every single tree, but I think if you just evenly spaced a couple uplights and chose a couple of these, so that, again, just based on your viewing angle, if you're looking from the deck, it looks nice, and then as you're kind of walking by this area on the sidewalk, you really have some of these standing out. But again, the only thing I would do is I would increase the brightness of that bulb one more time from a 35 watt equivalent to a 50 watt equivalent, just because those trees are a lot higher. So if you can really push that light up into the canopies nice and high, it'll do a really nice job of lighting that up. So I might look at, you know, I mean, I'd probably put 4 to 6 of those uplights in here. And again, it's not as important that you are highlighting a specific tree, is that you just try and get them somewhat evenly spaced in this back area. Would look really nice. This would be another area where a wash light would be really good. I think if you kind of had like a wash light in here that kind of highlighted this little plant you have in the corner to create some shadows back on the house, would look nice, and the plant would kind of hide that light from the windows a little bit. And then depending how much of a walking area this is, you could look at maybe a couple path and garden lights here just to help highlight the bed a little bit and make that stand out. And then you could kind of do the same. Something I really like doing along a deck like this is I actually like using these undercap lights, and this just kind of gives you an idea how that light sits underneath the rail and the caps, and it does a really nice job of subtly lighting down below. So in your case, if you were to use one of these, and these come in what they call a bronze finish, but it's basically a brown finish, that you could use those to maybe have 1 or 2 of those under this top lip. And it's actually it's pretty easy to still get the wire up there. Usually I just run it up the side and just kind of staple it in the corner, and across here that light easily just mounts to this top of this rail, and then you have that shining down, so it highlights the bed a little bit, but as well the surrounding deck area, so that as people are, you know, again, kind of passing by, they have the cool lighting effect on the deck a little bit, and it's going to, you know, put some light on the deck, so it just gives you a little bit of ambience as you guys are sitting around there. And that's, you know, probably what I would leave it at. I don't know if you want to put too much here. I think I would really focus on the other sides like we talked about already. And hopefully that gives you some good ideas, Matt. I mean, let me know if you have any questions and we can kind of go from there. But I think that should give you a really nice start. And yeah, and let me know how else I can help.
So good rule of thumb, obviously the bigger the tree, you're probably going to have it a little bit further back so you don't create a big hot spot, but 12 to 24 to 36 inches back is a great way. But a great way to, or a great tip, is that you almost always want to adjust that light more upright than you actually think. So many people put it far back and they point it at the canopy, and what that does, it creates a big hot spot. Whereas if you get it a little bit more upright, it tends to do a better job of highlighting the trunk, the branches, the leaves, and all of that stuff. So good rule of thumb when you're adjusting your lights, which are very easy with just a simple Phillips screwdriver, loosen that off and aim that more upright. Another thing I like about this guy here is that inside is a bulb that this tree is still fairly small, and as that tree grows we can very easily just twist off this top part. We got a nice rubber proof seal, we've got our lamp in there, then now we can just go and replace. And same thing, as this light burns out and 8, 10, 15 years, whatever it might be, you can very easily just go replace that with another MR16 bulb. And as that tree grows, if you want to increase the intensity of that light, you can also go do that just by swapping out the bulb inside, which makes it for a great light. Another thing I wanted to show you guys is a Hex Baffle. I talk about these in a lot of videos. Anytime you have a light that is close to a walking area, or you want to conceal the light source so as you walk beside it, that light's not shining in your eye, a simple Hex Baffle like this is a really easy way to go do that. Basically, usually you just throw it right under the glass here, go put this back on, and now we're going to have very little glare from the side and around here. It's going to really concentrate the light up here. It does take away a little bit from the light, but not a whole lot, so it's not something that I would typically worry about. But again, the nice thing about that is now, if you find that it does take away more than you would like for that tree, you can simply just go put a brighter bulb, still use that Hex Baffle, and get a great effect. So one of the best lights on the market by far, incredibly well built. The RS uplight that you can get in all our try it before you buy it kits. Go and plug it into our battery pack and test it out and really feel and see what that's going to look like before you go and have to buy a whole bunch.
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed that video presentation with some great tips and tools on how to go and properly and effectively light up your landscape. And be sure, if you want your own free consultation video, just send me an email at cal@lightingdoctor.ca with a few pictures of your property, and we'll get back to you with some really cool ideas and ways to go and effectively light your property. And be sure to watch the videos after this one for more tips on how to install landscape lighting, as well as how to light up your landscape the best way possible.